I think one of the most effective ways of teaching 6th grade has to do with getting me out of the way and getting the teacher, at least in my case, out of the way so that authentic student learning can occur. And that can be done by getting them to be able to talk with each other in effective ways, whether using technology or using some other method, or getting other teachers involved. I'm so excited to work at a place where there are so many knowledgeable people, and not just knowledgeable, but caring. And we're always looking for some other way to approach something. Come in here. Let's open up. There are so many strategies that I use to try to get out of the way, and one involves some technology, VoiceThread, where I can post a picture or a video even, and not one that I create even. I posted a Norman Rockwell picture called "The Problem We All Live With" about Ruby Bridges integrating the William Frantz School in New Orleans. And the kids could all then log on and comment to each other about the picture. They could circle parts of the picture that meant something to them or that they noticed. And other teachers could respond as well, so they could hear from each other as well as other faculty members, and even administrators could if they wanted. And they could do so verbally or in writing, so you could type it or you could say it. And that left room for a lot of different learning styles to participate. People who don't normally participate in class and who take a lot of time maybe to think of an answer and don't have time in class, or it's too anxiety-ridden to come up with a response, could use VoiceThread in a very positive way.
Next, I noticed how the artist made her in a white dress. I then noticed the tomato that was splattered. It could have easily hurt her angel-like dress and personality.
And then we went to, there was an exhibit at a local science museum that was very pertinent to the topic of race. And so 12 faculty members from the school got together and went and developed activities relevant to our conversation about race and stereotypes, but not so specific that they were tied just to English. It was a whole kind of collaborative effort. And so I'm so thankful that I work at a place where that kind of collaboration occurs. And then when the kids came back, they weren't talking to me, they were talking to each other, they're talking to other teachers, they're talking to just a wide range of people from the school, and they know that their community is involved. It's not just a teacher-student relationship, it's a much bigger learning environment here. If you agree with that statement, you're going to come over and sit around this table or stand around this table. If you kind of strongly agree with that, in other words, almost never would you say something against that statement, you're going to come here. Getting on to in-class conversations, today I did an exercise called a Four Corners activity, where I tried to allow the kids to they answered an opinionaire ahead of time, where they had to say what they believed about certain affirmative statements, such as, I believe that your personality is always developed by the time you're through with middle school. And they have to take a stance. So they agree strongly, or they agree, or they disagree, or disagree strongly. And they do that without talking to anybody else, and they even write a reason. And then they come in and they move to a different area of the room, a corner of the room, based on their bias. They don't call it a bias, they just call it their opinion. But we talk about how we all have biases, and they influence how we act and how we interact, and sometimes we assume everybody has the same bias that we do. So I get out of the way, they talk, they feel safe enough to interact and share their opinions, sometimes very strongly, and it's a safe environment. So if you feel different from everybody else in the room, you even will be standing in a corner by yourself and you'll argue your own point.
That might be your parents' belief, and that's pretty much your belief, but you can always change it.
I feel like when you get the teacher out of the way, you can allow the students to have conversations that create a powerful resource for them to be able to handle difficulties when they arise unexpectedly, whether it be on the playground or wherever. They have a resource now because they've relied upon each other and they know what to do, where they might not have before. By the end of the unit, my hope is that they'll come away appreciating that we all have biases and that we all have different points of view. And not everything has a right and a wrong to it, that people can agree to disagree, but it's important to be able to try to understand somebody else's point of view, because if you don't, you'll butt heads with them, and you might be judgmental in a way that might be hurtful. And especially at a school where the mission statement has to do with not just tolerance of other people, but respect of other people. You don't have to believe what they believe, but you should have an understanding and a respect for them. So the more I can help kids realize it's not about me, I have biases too. It's dialogue, and I can teach them maybe to have conversations that are reasonable and not insulting. We're creating more than language arts students. We're kind of creating citizens and people with, I hope, understanding and compassionate character.